Namaste, beautiful yogis. Today's class is quick power vinyasa core and abs class. Let's begin at the front of our mats. Step your feet hip width apart, pull the belly in, bring your hands in prayer, close your eyes, drop the shoulder blades back into your back and begin to deepen your breath, lifting the arches of your feet off of your mat, deepening the breath, slowing your breath down. And let's take chair pose. Inhale your hands over your head, exhale hands on the floor, forward bend, and you can clasp behind, straighten the legs in a forward bend and press your hands away from your back, stretching the shoulders. Release the hands on the floor, look ahead of you, stepping plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drawing the navel in towards the spine, pressing the heels down towards the mat, lifting the tailbone as high as you can. And step your feet at the front of the mat. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, chair. Sit as far back as you can. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing. Hands over the heart. And again, chair pose. Hands on the floor, straighten the legs, forward bend. Inhale, look ahead of you. And let's step in plank. Lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping the ears between the triceps, softening the rib cage. And let's step the feet at the front of the mat. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, chair pose. Sitting deep into your chair. Belly in, lift the chest away from your thighs and sit deeper. You can lift your toes off of your mat. Inhale, coming out of it, arch. Hands over the heart in standing. Big breath in, chair pose. Hands on the floor, forward bend. Inhale, look ahead of you, flat back. Hands on the floor and jump into chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Roll the shoulders back and down. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, step the right foot between your hands, drop the left heel down, come up warrior one. Hips are facing forward, sit as deep as you can in your warrior one. Exhale, hands on the floor, moving through your vinyasa, upward facing dog. Moving through your chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. Step your left foot between your hands and come up, warrior one. Exhale, all the way, hands on the floor. Step back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. And exhale, downward facing dog. And let's come on to the tippy toes. Look ahead of you and jump your feet forward in chair pose. Sit deep into your chair. lifting the rib cage away from your thighs. Inhale, come up, arch. And hands over the heart. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, look ahead of you. Hands on the floor. Jump or walk back to plank or chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. Press all the way up and back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg comes up. Step the right foot between your hands. Inhale, come up, warrior one. Exhale, hands on the floor, moving into your vinyasa, chaturanga, upward facing dog. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg comes up. Step your left foot between your hands. Come up, warrior one. Sink deeper into your warrior. Exhale, hands on the floor. Step back, plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog. Moving with your breath here. We're warming up and linking each movement to a breath. Chaturanga and downward facing dog. Pull your belly in and up every time you're in downward facing dog. Remember to pull the navel in towards the spine and activate Mula Bandha. Spread the fingers wide open. Come onto your tippy toes and jump forward into chair pose. Sit deep into your chair. Lift your toes off of your mat. Breathe. Inhale, come up to standing. Arch. Exhale, hands over the heart. Inhale, chair pose. And let's bring the hands behind us. And you can reach up with straight arms, activating the triceps here. Great, and release, forward bend. You can bring your forehead over to the right and to the left, softening the hamstrings. Exhale, back in center. Inhale, flat back, look ahead of you. Hands on the floor, jump or walk all the way back to plank or chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Keep your back wide here. Inhale, right leg comes up. Step the right foot between your hands and come up, warrior one. And let's bring the hands down on the floor. Keep your right foot off the floor, lower down, one-legged chaturanga, one-legged upward dog, and you can release your foot on the floor. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg comes up. Step your left foot between your hands. Inhale, come up, warrior one. Exhale, hands on the floor. One-legged plank, one-legged chaturanga, one-legged upward facing dog. Good. And release your foot down. Back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. You should be warmed up by now. You should be connected to your breath, connected to your core. Let's come on to the tippy toes. Look ahead of you, prepare to jump. Chair pose. Sit deep into your chair. make the best out of all these chairs we're doing. Really sit as far back as you can and come all the way up to standing, arching, tuck the tailbone under and back to center, back to standing, hands over the heart. Great, we're gonna shift the weight over to the right foot and we're gonna step the left foot back and jump forward. That was the demonstration. Let's go now. Stepping all the way back in lunge and jumping the knee up into the rib cage or in front of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And you can hold your knee into your rib cage and draw a few circles with your toes. Release back down and over to the opposite side. Step as far back as you can and go for 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And hold your knee into your rib cage. Draw a few circles with your toes, ankle rows, and release. Step your feet a little wider than hip width apart, pointing the toes slightly out and come into a yogic squat. You can reach with one hand up, keeping the opposite hand down, and switch. And come back to center, hands in prayer. Bring your hands on the floor, feet together. Grab your big toes and see if you can straighten your legs and sit back in Navasana. And you can reach in front of you, both pose. Great. Now we're gonna go for knee-ins. Laying back on the floor, begin. And 1. And bring your knees into your rib cage. Keep your back as flat and straight as you can. So essentially don't round your back here. Keep your belly pulled in. Keep your chest open, shoulders down. And hug your knees at the top of each rep into your rib cage. Go as steady as you can. We're going for 20 reps here. So continue a few more. Try to focus on your form. And when you're done with your 20 reps, you can jump back into plank, chaturanga, stretching the belly, upward facing dog, and back to chaturanga. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up, step the right foot between your hands and come up, high lunge. Hands in prayer, twist. Left elbow on the outside of the right knee. Press the back heel away from you. Soften your belly, drop your shoulders down. Feel free to stay here or you can progress to the next stage, bringing left hand on the floor, right arm up and over the head, finding length. And back to prayer, back to high lunge. Inhale, hands over the head. Release them on the floor and move into your vinyasa. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, back to chaturanga, exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up, step the left foot between your hands and come up, high lunge. Hands in prayer, lengthen through the crown of your head and twist as you exhale here. Use your elbow to open your chest. Either stay in prayer, or you can bring your right hand on the floor, on the outside of the left foot. Reach up and over your head with your top arm, finding length from the heel all the way into the fingertips. And let's bring the hands back in prayer, back to high lunge. Inhale your hands over the head, exhale hands on the floor, step back, bring your knees down and sit back, extended puppy pose. This is just very close to child's pose, except for we're reaching with the hands in front of us a little further out. And let's move into the next exercise demonstrated here. It's chaturanga to left and right knee tuck. So prepare for this. It's gonna be challenging. We're gonna do 2 chaturangas plus 2 knee tucks with each chaturanga. I'm gonna take a few breaks here. Feel free to do the same one. 2, keeping your body really strong here and your belly tight. 3, 4, 5, 6, keeping the knees high into the chest. 7, feel free to do the chaturangas from your knees. 9, 10, and this is where I'm taking a mini break. I have 10 more to go, so move at your own pace. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. If you need to do them from your knees, do the chaturangas from your knees, but try to develop this upper body strength. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm taking another break. 4 more to go. Breathe. Keep your chest open, keep pressing the heels away from you, and complete either 20. If 20 is way too much for you, do 10. If 10 is too much, do 5, and next time do 1 more. Great. Let's come onto the knees and bring the right hand across from our body, bringing the back of the shoulder on the floor to stretch the shoulder, and now over to the opposite side. One of my favorite shoulder stretches. And coming back up. Plank. Here we're gonna jump the feet to the left wrist and to the right wrist, and this counts as 1. We're gonna do 20. So prepare yourself, spread your fingers open, press into each and every knuckle, come into plank, and jumping left and right. 1, left and right. 2, left and right. 3, 4, 5, mini break, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and another break in child's pose. 10 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost there. Keep the focus on your breath, on your hand and wrist alignment. Shoulders are open, belly is in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 20. And take a break in child's pose. Bring your hands by your ankles, give your shoulders a break. Next we're gonna go into a back bend. Reach with your hands all the way in front of you and lower your heart towards the floor, keeping the hips over the knees. Great. Lower down, coming onto your belly. Inhale, cobra. Elbows in and slightly bend. Exhale. And come into a seated. Bring your legs in front of you. We're gonna come onto the back and go for extended leg bicycles. 20 of those. So try to keep your form here and try to keep your elbows back, chest open, moving from your belly. So you're not moving your neck or pulling on your neck with your hands. You're really moving your chest and your elbows from the belly. Keep the belly in. Your legs are steady. And continue. Each two, left and right, counts as 1 for a total of 20 or 40 if we can count each side as 1, right? And when you're done, you can rest in happy baby's pose. We're taking really small, quick breaks so that we're keeping the breath going, the challenge going. That's why I'm not staying for a long time in child's pose. Next is gonna be elevated bicycle. So you're gonna be sitting and bringing opposite elbow to knee, and at the same time keeping your lower back straight. Again, 20. Break. And 10 more. Keep the chest open, belly in, squeezing the elbows in. Once you're done with the 20 reps, you can come onto all fours. Coming into a plank with your middle fingers slightly pointed in towards each other, we're gonna jump the feet forward and back. So this is somewhat of a side plank. And jumping forward and back 10. It's a modified side plank. Once you're done, take a mini break in downward facing dog and prepare for 10 on the opposite side. Pointing the fingers slightly in on the outer edges of your feet, jumping back and forth, keeping your obliques tight and your hips lifted. Go as quickly as you can and keep your alignment, and you can rest either in a back bend or extended puppy. The back bend is great because it stretches the abs that we were just working. Great. Come onto your belly. And let's bring the elbows underneath the shoulders or slightly ahead of the shoulders and come up in Sphinx pose. Hands behind the head, and we're gonna go for 20 lifts here. Break and completing 10 more. Lift and be very steady. Pause at the top of the lift and really feel your lower back working here. We're strengthening the lower back, which is a part of your core. Helps you stabilize, helps with your posture, prevents your lower back from future injuries. It's great to always incorporate lower back exercises when we work the core. When you're done with your 10, you can rest laying down. Great. Let's bend the knees, reach back, grab your ankles, and come up. And release. Now we're gonna go for the swims here. Opposite arm to leg is lifting. 10 more. You can go as quickly as you can, making sure that your toes are reaching away from your fingertips, so we're finding length and at the same time we're lifting. When you're done, you can rest in child's pose, which is a mild forward bend. So we're resting, allowing the back to stretch. And it's very, very easy forward bend. Great, we're almost done. The next exercise, you can skip the elevated feet. I'm gonna bring my feet on a higher surface. You can use a couch, a chair, or just the floor. You don't have to. I'm gonna do 5 push-ups with knee tucks. Do as many as you can. If you can do more, do more. If you can only do a couple, do as much as you can, keeping your body straight and your belly in, knees high into the chest. And next, I'm gonna do leg lifts. Alternating leg lifts, 5 on each side, 10 alternating. Let your glutes and hamstrings work here. And once you're done, you can rest in child's pose. Let's bring the elbows on the floor and continue with the leg lifts. Keep your legs straight and lift through your heel here. 10. And let's sit down on the floor. Bring your legs in front of you, lower down, seated forward bend. Come up, bring your hands behind you and lower your forehead on the floor. Both heels are on the floor. This is a spinal stretch. Do it over to the opposite side. If you need to pause the video and see this, my form, you can do that. Once you're done with the spinal stretch, you can lower down onto your back, bring your right knee into your chest, and let's bring the right foot into the left inner elbow for pigeon or a hip opener. Here the knee is pressing away from you and the foot is pressing towards you, and switch sides. You can hold this stretch if you have time. You can hold these spinal stretches for a little longer. I had only 30 minutes this particular day, so I moved quickly through this sequence, so it's good for days when you're really in a rush. Once you're done with the right and the left side, stretching your hips, you can come onto your back and make yourself comfortable for shavasana. Stay here for as long as you need to. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.